The first sustained flight, performed by the Wright brothers in 1903, acted as a milestone in aviation. For the first time, an aircraft was able to balance lift, thrust, drag, and weight, and both get off the ground as well as stay in the air. Since then, a string of innovations have propelled the industry of aviation to its present scope, but today we'll be taking a look at one of the primary driving forces of flight, literally, thrust. First of all, let's discuss the humble piston engine. As its name indicates, it uses a series of pistons, propelled by explosions, to generate its power. The internal combustion cycle for a piston goes as follows. First, a valve opens on one side of the cylinder, letting air and fuel flow into it. The piston then moves up, compressing the mixture into a small volume. A spark plug ignites this mixture in the cylinder, forcing the piston downwards. And finally, a second valve opens to vent all of the exhaust gases. The up and down motion of the piston during this cycle is converted into rotation by a crankshaft, which in turn turns an airplane's propeller to generate thrust. Furthermore, multiple cylinders can be attached to one crankshaft to generate more power. However, piston engines have one critical weakness. They lose power at high speeds and altitudes. Thus, planes would need another new type of engine to fly faster and higher. This brings us to rocket propulsion. A rocket at its core is simply a container. A combusting fuel is expelled from one end, thus providing thrust in the opposite direction. Think of a soda bottle that has Mentos put into it. For their weight, rocket engines offer an incredible amount of thrust, but also consume an incredible amount of fuel. The rocket-powered Bell X-1, the first supersonic manned aircraft, could only stay in flight for a couple of minutes. Because of this extremely high fuel consumption, long-range flight with a rocket engine is not possible. Thus, a true solution to the power problem came with the turbojet engine. With its advent in the early 50s, next-generation planes became bigger, flew faster, and flew higher than ever before. The core of a jet engine operates similarly to a piston engine, but is radically different in structure. An opening at the front of the engine forces air into it as the plane moves. Then, several bladed compressors force this air into a smaller volume. The air then enters a combustion chamber, which mixes the air with fuel and ignites it. And the air, now moving at a high velocity, exits to the back of the engine and both provides thrust and drives the compressor blades as it passes through a series of turbines. Although this provides a lot of thrust on its own, the jet engine can be modified to become even more efficient. The turboprop engine, for example, uses the energy of the exhaust gas to turn a propeller, resulting in more fuel efficiency at lower speeds. Meanwhile, a turbofan adds a large bladed fan directly in front of the engine core, allowing air to be both combusted as high-velocity exhaust or bypass the core and be turned by the fan like on a propeller, creating an excellent mix of speed and efficiency. This was a quick overview of some of the propulsion systems used in aircraft over time, but as always, more information can be found here on YouTube and on credible sites like the NASA website. So get out there and explore this topic to its fullest.